Welcome everyone, this is Zozo Stockwatch, and let's get ready for the week ahead, July 3rd through July 7th. And I just want to wish everybody a happy 4th of July. I will not be around. I'm expecting it to be a light week, and so I'm going to take some time off. So I'm going to do the Let's Get Ready video, and then after that I'll do Sunday I'll do the Stocks to Watch video, and then I'll be gone for a bit and taking some R&R. And so we'll go ahead and tell you about the markets, and we'll get into some news that happened during the week. As far as the markets for Monday, the market is closed after 1 p.m. on Monday, so half a day Monday, and then the market is closed Tuesday, July 4th for the holiday, the U.S. markets. So the week that passed was a turbulent week. Mixed note on Friday. Tech stocks were the most volatile, but at the end of the week, the S&P and the Dow Jones both rose. Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Google, Tesla, Netflix, Priceline were on the soft side. The Dow Jones for the week was down fractionally for the week, though. We did have a couple of IPOs. There was actually a few others, but DOVA and APRN, Blue Apron, are the ones that stick out the most. This is DOVA, and that's a pharmaceutical, and so that one actually did pretty well for the week. We'll look at the daily on it. So it closed up for the week on DOVA. That was one of the IPOs, and then APRN, which was Blue Apron, and this one closed at the lows. I'll show you the daily on that, and that closed at the lows. So this IPO did not fare as well. The opening price was the offering rate was like $10, and it closed below the offering price on that IPO. So that did not fare as well. As far as the other markets, we'll take a look once again. We'll look at the Dow Jones again, and we'll go to the weekly chart. And the Dow Jones, we're still above the 10 SMA here on this weekly chart, so still showing strength. A little bit of a pullback with all the volatility this week, but then again, only down fractionally for the week. The NASDAQ composite now on the weekly, we are below the 10 SMA on the weekly. Let me get rid of some of these lines for you. But we still are in this range here, and we still have all the moving averages moving up, so not major damage, but the NASDAQ was down about 2%. The XLU, this is the utilities, and this was down almost 3% for the week, but it came down to the 20 SMA, as you can see on the weekly chart. The transports actually were strong, up almost 2% for the week on the transports, and up here near the resistance level, over the 10 SMA, over the 20, so strength in the transports, and that was even with oil having a really good week, and we'll get into that in a moment. As far as the dollar fared, though, the dollar moved down this week, 1.71% on the dollar, and UUP is the ETF for the dollar, and that was down 1.59% for the week. GDX was down almost 3% for the week on the GDX. The juniors, GDXJ, this was down 2.40% on the GDX. Gold itself, GLD, the ETF for gold, down about 1% for the week, and it's down below the 10 SMA, down below the 20 SMA. It looks like it's headed back down to maybe this 116 level on GLD. HACK, H-A-C-K, the cybersecurity ETF. This did pull back, but it is holding the 20 SMA so far. It's held it a couple of times before on HACK, and the names that make that up are FireEye, Palo Alto Networks. We've spoken about them in previous videos. Cyber, CYBR, and CUDA, C-U-D-A, and amongst others. The IBB, for the week, this was down over 3%, and you see we had spoken about that in last week's video, how it had this big pop, and now we had some pullback. So we're going to have to watch this around that 303, 305 area on the IBB, see if it can hold it. We'll take a quick look at the XBI. That was also down almost 4% for the week. But after this big push up, you would expect a pullback. So we'll see if it comes back down to the breakout level, which was about $70 a share. If it's going to show strength, I would think it would attempt to hold, the 75 spot on the XBI, which is about the midpoint of this big candle here. So we'll see what they want to do with that. Let's see, the IWC was actually up for the week, almost 1% on the IWC, and up, making new highs up near $90. So that's for the micro caps, which is good for the small cap stocks. IWM is up here near resistance, but it was up, I guess flat for the week, but up near the resistance. But it did hold up well compared to the other indices. The transports we spoke about showing strength. JETS, which is the ETF for airlines, that was up, remains up near the highs. So that's looking good. Copper had a good week this week, up over 3% for the week. This is the weekly chart, JJC on TC2000, and that's back above the 10 SMA, the 20 SMA. We do have this 200 weekly SMA right above. We failed there before, and so now we may test that again and see if they can get that moving through on the JJC. NUGT, this was down about 10% for the week on Nugget, and that's the 3 times bull gold play. OHI, which is Schlumberger, Halliburton, BHI, Rig, are some of the names that make this up, and this was up actually 2% for the week. And so it's Schlumberger, that didn't do much this week, but Halliburton did pop for the week, 3%. Rig popped almost 2% for the week. BHI, which is Baker Hughes, that popped 1% for the week. But SLB in that family of ETF is still a bit sluggish on that name. So they're the ones that comprise the OIH. As far as the Qs go, the Qs were down almost 3% for the week. And you see it's below the 10 SMA, maybe going to be testing this 20 SMA. Robo, which is the animation index, came down. We're testing this 10 SMA on the weekly chart here, and we'll see if they want to bounce it there on Robo. I mean, it could come all the way down to the 50 SMA and still be bullish. We've had a big run in this on ROBO. Silver for the week was actually down 0.5%. SLX, which is the steel ETF, was up over 5% for the week. That's the SLX, and that's a steel ETF. And we'll look at X and AKS. We'll take a look at them right now. Here's X, US Steel, so it's trying to get back over the 200 SMA on the weekly. AKS, that had a bounce this week. It's trying to stay above the 50 SMA, the yellow line you see there. STLD also popped this week for 7%, and you see the you see the consolidation here on STLD. NUE, another name that was up for the week, about 0.5% on NUE. And let's see, what's the other one? ZEUS, Zeus. That also popped for the week. That was up close to 5% for the week on Zeus, Olympic Steel. Some other ETFs want to take a quick look at. We'll look at the SMH, which was down for the week, which is down 4.45% for the week. But we are testing this 20 SMA. We've tested it and held it before. So you see how many times we've tested this red line. So we'll see if bulls can come in and support this again, or are bears going to eventually break this down. And once again, even if they do break it down, and we went all the way down to the 50 SMA, the yellow line on the SMH, it's still a powerful move and still in a upward trend. Let's see, the S&P 500, we popped. We're still above the 500. I'm sorry, the 10 SMA on the weekly. SPY, most people watch the SPY during the day. That's holding the 10 SMA on the weekly. And let's see, UNG had a good week this week, up close to 3% for the week. Donald Trump had come out last week and been positive on nat gas, said he's going to try to get the price up. Oil had a very good week. USO, the ETF for oil, we got the bounce off the lows now. Came up 7% on the USO. Take a quick look at the daily. So we came down up from 875, close to 950. Now I don't know if they're going to try to take this all the way back up to the 50 SMA. We'll have to see. But I did play some oil stocks the week that passed, and did pretty good in oil names. The VIX, and we'll look at that on the weekly chart. The VIX held, this support here. It did pop during the week, and that showed the increase in the volatility. But we closed right back near 11 on the VIX for the week. But for the week, it was up almost 12% on the VIX. So volatility did absolutely come into the market. The XBI for the week was down close to 4%. And this is your smaller sized biotech stocks. The IBB is the larger biotech stocks such as Celgene, Amgen, Biogen, and XBI has things like Juno and other smaller pharmaceutical companies, biotechs in that name. The XHB, the home builders, showing good strength here, holding this 10 SMA, and now we'll have to see if it can push higher or is it going to consolidate for a while on the home builders. XLB, materials sector, holding the 10 SMA on the weekly. XLE, now this is the energy sector, and this was up about, a little bit under 1%, and, so didn't fare as well. XLF had a big week this week. That was up 3.26% for the banks, and you see this 25 level was the resistance, so price has memory here, and also it's a big round number, so we're having a little bit of a tough time getting through this 25 spot on the XLF, but that was up 3% for the week on the XLF, and that's the daily, so we're holding above the 5 EMA on the XLF. Let's see, XLI holding the 10 SMA, that's the industrials. So you can see this is the rotation when I show you some of the tech stocks in a bit. What else was there I wanted to show you? I think that's about it. XLU was down for the week, over 2%. Oil, okay, here we go. Oil, we held that 43 area. We did bounce. This is the weekly chart. We're above the 100 SMA on oil. Oil itself was up, like I said, 7% for the week. Here's the daily. So, from this breakdown of 43, when everybody was saying oil is going to go to 20, 30, etc., all the talking heads on CNBC, and then we get this bounce. Now, I don't know how far this bounce is going to go. Like I said, I would think, they may want to test this 50 SMA on oil. It depends what kind of news flow you get as far as the OPEC and things like that, if they can keep, trying to push this up and recover for oil. But oil did close at 46. So, very good week for oil. The oil itself was up, over 2%, 2.5% on oil. Let's see, DBB. DBB was up for the week, up 3% for the week. This is the metals fund, and that was up 3% for the week. DBA, this was up for the week, and this is the agricultural ETF. That was up 4% for the week. So maybe some stocks like Potash, POT, Monsanto, Mosaic, things like that, keep an eye on those. They've been pretty beaten up. IPI has been holding steady on the daily chart. So this one, if it can ever clear this resistance, but maybe some of the fertilizer stocks, they've been beaten down so much, maybe they'll start to get going. Wheat is another reason I would watch some of the these ag stocks. The weekly, for the week, it was up over 10% on wheat. Now, I don't trade wheat, but I do keep an eye on it. So this may affect the ag stocks and Deere and Company. That's part of that whole mixture of stocks. Let's see, SMH we talked about already. IWC, we got that. I'm just looking at some of my notes here that I want to touch base with you with. Let's look at some of the big guns. Let's look at Facebook. For the week, Facebook still holding that 10 SMA on Facebook. Was up, down for almost 3% for the week on Facebook. Amazon down 3.5%, close to 4% on Amazon. Apple was also down for the week, about 2% for the week, but now we're hugging that 20 SMA on the weekly and still hanging out around this 100 SMA on the daily. Let's see, next one up is Google, and that was down close to 6% for the week. Tesla showed a little chink in the armor here, down 6% for the week, but still very very extended, very bullish. When a stock is like this, I mean, this is just shorts, getting hit here, but we haven't even come down to the 10 SMA on the weekly yet for Tesla. And then Netflix, another leader, that is testing the 20 SMA on the weekly. That was down 5%, over 5% for the week. PCLN. This one's holding steady, holding the 10 SMA. They can't get this thing down. Very strong stock. So, we'll see what wants to happen with that price line. But that is holding very strong on price line. So some stories that came out this week that I'll just bring to your attention because they may affect the market for next week also. And we'll go ahead and take a look at some of these stories. Citi doubles dividend, bank shares jump as all the banks, 34 banks, passed the Fed stress test. So they all got to do buybacks and doubled up the dividend on Citi. And as I showed you with the XLF, the banks were very strong. So, keep the banks, some of the banks on your watch list, like JP Morgan, WFC, which is Wells Fargo, BAC. And then Warren Buffett also on BAC. I don't have the news story in front of me, but he made like $12 billion on some warrants he had with Bank America. So, Warren Buffett is converting his warrants into common stock. So that means he's probably bullish on the banks. There was a story, they said this is one of the stories that moved oil also this week. This shipping magnate is calling a bottom in oil, and that came out on June 27th at 10:24 a.m. And John Fredrickson wants to double down on the battered oil tanker business, even as his offshore drilling business sinks in debt. So he's calling the bottom, and so that might have been one of the reasons why oil also moved up. Germany now is approved new legislation imposing millions of dollars in fines on social media companies that fail to quickly remove hate speech. And that was from, let's see, well, this is an old article, but during this week they mentioned it. All right, so they agreed to fine social media. EU hit Google with 2.7 billion antitrust fine. So over in Europe, they're going after some of the social media companies, and they're also going after Google. I mean, Google can handle this fine, but hey, 2.7 billion is still money, and so it looks like with that 2.7 billion fine, it's for its dominance as a search engine. So I don't know how they're going to rectify that. I mean, they're pretty dominant. Now there was an interesting story in the Wall Street Journal, and it said that basically, I'll just summarize it for you, that the decline in the number of traded companies has halved over the past 2 decades to less than 3,600 from 7,400 companies. So, that could be a concern. The healthcare vote was postponed this week till after the July 4th recess. The next thing up was Janet Yellen and some of the Fed spokespersons were a little bit hawkish this week. And Yellen, Fed heads, hawkish. 30-year bond moved down. Even Carney out of London said maybe time to reduce some stimulus. So bond yields jumped this week as the central bank officials hinted the removal of monetary stimulus. The ECB, Canada, and the yield for the 10-year was 2.3% for the 10-year. So that was some of the Fed speak and Janet Yellen. And then this came out, and this is about the Macau casino up nearly 20%, 26%. So that would affect, real positive percents in Macau. So this might affect the LVS, WIN, MGM, and MCLO, I believe is the new symbol for some of the gaming stocks. So keep your eye on gaming stocks for the week ahead. They might get a push from this article. And just lastly, this is the insider transaction ratio, and we are still near the bullish end of this. For insider, selling and transactions, but it is rising slightly. I think last week was a 15. Now we're at 18. The lowest I remember seeing this was at 7. So this is on the rise, but still in the bullish camp on that. So we'll go ahead and get this out of your way. And I'll just check and see if there was anything else that I wanted to mention. Trump did talk about putting tariffs on steel, so keep your eye on those steel companies this week. They might get some movement from that. Let's see. Anything else? I think we covered pretty much everything as far as that for the week. I showed you wheat. I showed you some of the agricultural stocks. And now, you know what? Let's go ahead and get look at the best stocks for the week, and we'll do this on the weekly charts. So some of the best stocks for the week. First one up is AVEO, and this stock was up 78% for the week. SPEX was up 160% for the week. SPEX. OMNT was up 65% for the week. MBRX up 70% for the week on MBRX, but did pull back. CHFS was up 69% for the week on CHFS. SHLD was up to over 27% for the week. Nike had earnings this week, and that was up 12% for the week. LULU was also up for the week. Chatter circulated around the name, was up close to 8% for the week. Macy's, so we see some retailers trying to recover here, was up 4%, but still not clearing that 10 SMA on the weekly chart, the light blue line you see on that chart. TJX was up 4% for the week on TJ Maxx. Next one up was HTZ, was up, Hertz was up close to almost 21% for the week on Hertz. Car, Avis, up 13%. And Hertz had news with Apple. Apple's going to lease cars from them to, do automation for their cars. SPLS taken out privately. This stock was up 8% for the week. KBH Homes was up 7% for the week. SCHN, now this is a steel company. They had earnings this week, and that was up almost 17% for the week for a steel company. So after their earnings, they did very well. STLD up 7% for the week. Some bank stocks, most of them were up about 5 to 6% on the bank stocks, such as JP Morgan, WFC, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, ZION also up for the week. And so keep your eye on for continuation moves in the banks. HAIN, Chatter, I believe, around this name. So it was up close to 23% for the week on Hain Celestial, HAIN. And last one was Trivago that I had noticed, TRVG. And this stock, big move up over 13% for the week. And now we'll take a look at some of the worst stocks for the week. And the first one I have up for the worst stocks of the week is AMD, and that was down 12% for the week. Nvidia was down 6% for the week. ALDR down 42% for the week. STX down 9% for the week, and WDC down 5%. WDC came out with their earnings estimates numbers, and I guess Wall Street, they didn't like that, but this stock has had a huge move. STX also had a, well, not as big a move, but that's going to go down in sympathy to WDC. PRKR down 15% for the week. CARA, big hit this week, Cara Therapeutics, and that was down 32% for the week on CARA. DDD was down 15% for the week. SSYS also was down 16% for the week. The 3D printers. OMER was down over 22% for the week. WKHS was down 13% for the week. TTNP down 12% for the week. Biotech company. XENE down 23% for the week. MGM, and this is one of those stocks we were talking about with the Macau news that came out. But for the week, this was down over 8%, so possible bounce in this name when that article gets passed around and the info gets passed around. And the other ones were LVS, Win, and then the worst stock, and continues to be the worst stock, excuse me, was Dries, and that was down. Dries for the week was down 48% for the week, and you see the number of reverse splits that they've done. So that's your worst stocks for the week. So let's go ahead and look at some news that came out on Friday after the bell, and then we'll get you ready for the week ahead. Some news that came out after the bell on Friday at 4:06 p.m. DCIX, a shipper, they are announced a 1-for-7 reverse stock split. And let's see, TERP, TerraPower announces extension of regain NASDAQ compliance. TOPS, TOPS, another shipper, announces receipt of NASDAQ notice. PLSE files S3 150 million mixed shelf. FBIO CFO resigns. CYCC increases proposed offering to 26.7 million from 15 million. Here's that Macau news: LVS, MGN, Win, MLCO. That's your Macau news. Some syndicate news that came out Friday after the bell. Fred filed Form S3, over 9 million shares. GLNG filed Form F3, mixed shelf, no amount provided. PLSE we spoke about. Let's see, was there anything else? Some insider purchases. We had SIGM, 10% owner, purchased over 82,000 shares at $5.85 on SIGM. XNCR, 10% owner, purchased 6K shares at $19.94. So that's some of the top insider purchases, and that's about it. And I'll just go back up so you can see any news that I might have missed. Here's AVID. And I think that's it for the news that came out after the bell on Friday. Okay, and we'll get this out of the way. And so we'll go ahead and get you ready for the week ahead. Now, as you can imagine, as far as earnings and whatnot, it's going to be a very light week ahead. Bring this over for you. All right, so on Monday the 3rd, we do have motor vehicle sales. 4:35 a.m. There's Fed Speak. James Bullard will be speaking at 4:35 a.m. This is some of the European economic information coming out, international, and that's on Monday. As far as the U.S. in the gold, you have the Gallup U.S. consumer spending coming out, PMI manufacturing index coming out, 10 a.m. construction spending coming out, 10 a.m. ISM coming out at, like I said, 10 a.m., excuse me. And then here's our 1 p.m. NYSE early close. All right, and then here's our Tuesday. Markets are closed Tuesday. As far as earnings, we do have some earnings Wednesday, and I'll go ahead and show you those now. After the market on Wednesday, July 5th, we have MLHR, PSMT, YUMC earnings coming out after the bell on Wednesday. For Wednesday, we have MBA mortgage applications. 8:30, we have the Gallup U.S. Job Creation Index. We have the Red Book coming out 8:55. Factory orders. This one in red, FOMC minutes are coming out on Wednesday, July 5th. Don't forget the ever important API crude oil data at 4:30 p.m. Thursday, we have some earnings coming out on Thursday, and those names include before the bell AZZ, CHKE after the bell, TCS after the bell, and that's July 6th, and that's Thursday. And then you can see here's your economic information. Fed Speak at 10 a.m., 7:30 p.m. Fed Speak Stanley Fischer. And we do have the EIA natural gas report at 10:30. But then you have the petroleum oil coming out on Thursday at 11 a.m. So because of the holiday, that's going to get pushed till Thursday, but at 11 a.m. for oil. So keep that in mind. I'm not seeing many or any overnight economic information from Asia for next week. And then Friday, we have the employment situation, which is the NFP, the jobs number, and that's at 8:30 on Friday. And then the Baker Hughes rig count at 1 p.m. on Friday, July 7th. So that's some information for the week ahead. And just trying to think anything else that I wanted to go over with you as far as stocks. We'll take a look at some of the stocks like Amgen that make up the biotech, and we'll look at the daily. So here's Amgen, trying to hold the 5 EMA, holding the 10 SMA. Some other big names, AVGO, which is a semiconductor name, below the 50 SMA now on Broadcom, AVGO. Baba, that was having a really good couple of weeks there. Still holding this 13 EMA. But maybe starting to roll over a bit on Baba. The bank stocks, BAC. This is the daily on BAC. Biogen also below the 200 SMA and remains below the 200 SMA. Celgene pulled back now down to the 13 EMA on Celgene. Open this chart up a little bit for you, but we are below the 5 EMA, below the 10 SMA for Celgene. KBH I'd mentioned. Shop, which was a big runner, for a few months there, is now below the 50 SMA and not able to recapture the 50 SMA currently on SHOP. And here's a US Steel for the daily chart. You see it's trying to hold this 20 spot here, $20 spot, but it did pull back. It's kind of the laggard of the group out of the steels. So we'll see what they want to do with this US Steel next week. And was there any other stocks that I wanted to mention? We'll look at some of the Dow 30 stocks. We looked at Apple already. Here's American Express holding strong. Financial. Let's check out Boeing. Holding the 13 EMA but below the 5 and the 10 SMA on Boeing. Caterpillar, this is moving back up. Possible infrastructure play. Trying to take out this 108 on Caterpillar. Cisco, basically, you know, going nowhere currently. Ugly chart. CVX, one of these oil names, still holding support here around that 104 spot on CVX. What else? Disney, one of the Dow stocks, hanging in there, but you know, below the 50 SMA, and the 50 SMA is crossed over the 100 SMA and curling down. GE just can't get itself going, no matter who they get rid of. They got rid of Jeffrey Emmel. GS, Goldman Sachs, not really participating in the bank rally currently, but is holding above the 200 SMA, so a laggard in the group on Goldman Sachs. Home Depot holding the 100 SMA. IBM still a laggard, going nowhere. Ugly chart. Intel, you know, pushed down and not really able to recover as of yet. J&J, strong, was a strong stock, pulling back now. So we'll see if they want to take this down. You know, usually if you break the 10, you go to the 20. And then if you break the 20, you go to the 50 SMA. So we'll see if they want to bring it down that far. JP Morgan, one of the strong banks. Coca-Cola, trying to hold the 50 SMA. Nothing special there. McDonald's, after that, this big push up, now consolidating. So McDonald's very strong. You know, after this big push up, a little bit of pullback, buyers come right back in and push it up even higher, and now we're at the 20 SMA on McDonald's. Very strong stock. What else was there interesting? Microsoft, not interesting. Nike, we mentioned already. Let's check out Merck, pulling back from the highs down to the 50 SMA after this run up. Next one up, Nike, we spoke about. UNH, healthcare. After this big pop, consolidating now, holding the 10 SMA. So we'll see how this is going to be affected by that healthcare bill if they ever, you know, get to take a vote. UTX, basing under the highs on United Technologies Defense Company. V, coming back down to the 50 SMA. We haven't broken it before, but this candle looks like it wants to break it. So we'll see what they want to do with that. Verizon, you know, still down here at the lows. Walmart, you know, after that Amazon buying Whole Foods, this thing has dropped below the 50 SMA and remains below the 50 SMA on the daily. And in the last one in the Dow, I know we missed a few, but you know, for time's sake, here's ExxonMobil trying to hold this $80 spot for ExxonMobil. Let's see, did we do Pfizer? I don't think so. Pulling back to the 100 SMA. Procter & Gamble had a pop, dropping now below the 50 SMA. So, you know, it's a big mixed bag on the Dow Jones stocks. So that's pretty much it. That covers all the stuff I wanted to talk about. I hope I didn't miss anything. But this should get you more ready for the week ahead, July 3rd through July 7th. Don't forget, Monday is a half a day. Don't forget, Tuesday the U.S. markets are closed for the 4th of July, and please enjoy your holiday safely. As I said, I'm going to do a stocks to watch for Sunday, and then I'll be coming out. Then you won't see any videos or anything from me. I'm getting away from, you know, social media and videos for about a week, and then I'll be back at you. All right. By the way, I did put a video out on FinViz and some scans. I put out about, I don't know, 13 different scans that maybe you might be interested in if you take a look at that video. and I want to wish everybody a happy 4th of July. This has been Zozo Stockwatch. Please hit the like button. Please retweet these videos if they are helping you, or if you like them, by retweeting them to your group of followers. That helps me with gaining subscribers for the videos, and makes me feel a whole lot better. And also hit that like button. All right, thank you so much for listening. Happy 4th of July. You are more ready for next week than you were before, and thank you so much for listening, and happy 4th of July from Zozo Stockwatch.